Okay.
Oh, it's a voice, yeah, it's just voice.
Oh, just a
Yeah.
voice.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, so your mic is on.
Yeah.
Yes.
Member Hill?
Yes.
I vote yes as well, and Member Harry? All right, the minutes are approved. Under old business, we have item C1, which is consideration of appointment of student board member to the liaison committee. That was something that I had brought up last time. And it's, I think it's really important for as a city that we, hear from, young Newark residents of, what they need from the city, and thought that adding the student board member to this liaison committee would, kind of in what we talk about and their knowledge would, help the city and, the school district both work together and, the city add that youth perspective. This is something that we'll need to vote on if it is something moving forward that we want the student board member to be a part of these meetings. So open up discussion.
They do normally try to silence me during my normal meetings, but this is unusual because I don't have control of the, I support this, this recommendation, as the chairman mentioned. It's good for us to receive a voice from the youth in our city organization, whether it be as it relates to issues with the school or the city. We've heard from the community for many years now that they would like to see the city form a youth commission. We haven't done that. I think this would be a fine alternative until such time as we decide whether to pursue the creation of a youth commission. It's something, again, as the chairman mentioned, just to hear a voice from the community that is clearly not represented here. So I would certainly recommend the appointment of the student board member to the liaison committee, recognizing that their schoolwork comes first. So it's not a priority that they be here every meeting, but just kind of an open invitation that if they want to attend and participate and provide a voice, they're certainly encouraged to do so. So I will make a motion that we accept the recommendation to.
We have an opportunity to speak.
You will. I'm just going to make the motion.
Okay.
Make a motion that we appoint the student board member to the liaison committee, pending further comments.
Okay, great. Okay, thank you, Mayor Hannon. And I think it'd be great to provide the opportunity for student voice to come into this committee and to see for the city to see the intersection with the actual student population. The only modification that I would suggest is that just as in our own board meetings, that we have the student member really vote on what we call a preferential basis, since they're not really an officially elected official. And so, essentially it's a representation of their voice, but it's not counted when it comes to official matters.
I would definitely be in agreement with that. I think this will be the first vote other than the minutes that I've taken on this committee in my 3 years there. And I think we would have to go back quite a way. So we probably need to get that down in writing. So, whoever's on this committee, the next time we take a vote, that's remembered. But yeah, I would be in agreement with that.
The thing that I would like to add is that we're right at that transition point between our student board member leaving the last meeting that she has with us is actually May 6th. Our new student board member will begin July 1st. We won't have a meeting until August. I am definitely in favor of having youth input on the, in terms of our connection and working together. I hesitate to appoint the student board member at this time. I would say that I think it would be great to offer the opportunity to come and to encourage that, but to have it be a formal appointment at this transition when we're exiting one, we haven't started the new one, they haven't had a chance to even understand their role in terms of the position on our board. So I am not opposed. I think that our new student board member would be a fabulous, have some really good input, but I would like her to let her get her feet wet before we're appointing, her to the position to find out, does she really want to do this? And giving that opportunity to her to also to be a part of this decision rather than the four of us making a decision based on what we would really like. I'd like to honor the student board members' reflection on this as well. So I hesitate to approve this and take a vote on it at this time because of that. I am not opposed to having youth involvement by any stretch. I really do think that is a valuable piece. I'm just not willing to do that at this moment.
No, and I wouldn't see this as certainly an urgency item, where, especially because the new student board member's term wouldn't start until July, the seat I would see more for our next meeting in June would be vacant. I wouldn't expect either the former student board member or the incoming student board member, because neither of them are really in that role, to be at the June meeting for that reason. But, for our October meeting, because again, I don't think it's an urgent item. So that's something that I feel is, in line with, the appointment here.
So, Mr. Chair, maybe I'll modify my motion to suggest that we make an invitation to the student board member to be a member of this liaison committee. And of course, if she agrees to do so, that we ask her if she'd be willing to attend the October 27, 2025 meeting.
Superintendent, you have a comment here.
Yeah, thank you. I think, first of all, student voice is always very important. And one of the things I think I've heard in listening to many of our students' voices out there is that there's a variety of voices that would like to probably come and advocate for areas and topics that they really care and are concerned about. And I can tell you, I met a couple of young elementary students at a recent back-to-school night that we had, and they were huge advocates of looking at recycling and wondering why the school district and city didn't do more to be able to help and protect the environment. You may have topics, and you might want to ask us to find someone to be a representative of those different topics to have a perspective. And I can see that too, because I can tell you those two young men made a very compelling argument to me as to why we should be doing more to save our planet than many other students have actually advocated for in a way. And they were able to really rationalize, like, here's what we have now, here's how the city's doing things, here's how we're doing things in the school district, here's how some other places are doing it, and here's what our concerns are for the future. You should hear what that voice had to say. It was really important. But I think as you look at your topics of structure, perhaps maybe we could identify people in our school district that would be good people to come in and really give a perspective on the topic depending on what it is. Some of the topics that you all talk about may not be as of interest to our students as they are to you. But I know there are topics that you will be discussing that will be of serious concerns and of interest to our students. And so maybe on those, we might want to have special features or maybe the ability to be able to identify someone.
No, and I think you've really hit the nail on the head for why, a lot of cities struggle with their youth commissions in terms of getting a quorum, getting applicants, because at least from my perspective, the kind of scope of what a youth commission is and what it's able to do doesn't necessarily line up with, young people's interest in their government. That's why, at least for me, seeing, the student board member, comes in with an incredible amount of knowledge, an incredible amount of passion on, most of the things that we would be looking for a student voice on are things that we're discussing at this committee. So that's kind of where, my thought process began from.
And we certainly don't want to discourage students throughout our community
I know that.
to come here or a council meeting or a board meeting to voice their opinions and or concerns. I always like to use the example, the reason we have a skateboard park here in Newark is because we had lots of young people standing here at the podium with skateboards in hands saying that this is what we want to see in our community. We in the council at that time certainly didn't have that in our vision, but we certainly made it happen when we heard from the community. So I think the chair is correct. having somebody that the student body has selected at the high school to kind of be their voice just gives that school environment an additional voice to hear what's going on at the city as well as we work together on joint issues, so.
And I think the associated. The ASB president, or, might also be another voice from the school that, yes, they work together, but the student board member and the ASB president do have different roles. So I really appreciate Superintendent Vicar's idea of bringing in, and offering the opportunity to other youth as well, because it's powerful what they have to say. I met a couple kids who have this kids science program all figured out, and they've done some amazing things. That they're not in our district, but they have brought their program to our elementary schools, some of the elementary schools, and I know Mr. Stoner has encouraged and offered the opportunity for them to be able to present their program at the library. So, I think that it's a fabulous idea to get more youth involved.
Well, I'll second the motion, and we'll call for a public comment at this time. All right, seeing,
Could we be clear on what the motion is? Because we talked about some various amendments.
Mayor, would you like to restate the motion?
So my recommendation.
And this would be they would be a member on a preferential voting basis.
Yes.
All right, with that, I'll call for a vote. Member Jones?
Can I ask one clarifying question? Is it appoint or invite? Are we appointing thank you. Are we appointing the student board member?
We're appointing them.
Oh, okay. I have to say no then.
Can I ask a question?
'Cause I don't want
Can
them
I ask a
appoint-
question on your motion? Okay, I just haven't had a chance to talk with the ASB about all of this, and it would be nice if I had the opportunity to be able to go back and go do that. It's a lovely gesture that you want to have a student representative, and it looks like you want our student board member, but they have to do a few things on their end too. And so I just want to make sure that it's not a surprise and they don't hear about this tomorrow before we have a chance to really talk with them about it. And I did not get that opportunity today, so I'd like to be able to spend a little bit of time, I think, just letting the ASB know what's going on. And then if you would be willing to amend or consider maybe amending, I would recommend that maybe you say the student board member and or their alternate, because they may.
Currently an alternate for the student board member?
No, but I think at this committee level, I think you could definitely have an alternate. And I think there's just, like I said, there's a lot of voices out there. I hope you get to hear them all, because they're really amazing. I know, I realize that, I recognize that, and I just don't want to be a surprise to them. I think you're appointing them to something that they don't even know they're being appointed to.
Exactly. We have not had an opportunity to even discuss the possibility with the new student board member. So, in terms of a vote, I would really prefer to bring it back in June after we've had an opportunity. We've introduced her as our student. We haven't even introduced her as our student board member. To introduce her, to talk to her about it, to talk to ASB about it. So, from that standpoint, I would vote no because of those things.
This idea back in January, am I to understand there's been no conversation with the student board member about the opportunity to sit on the liaison committee and have a voice when it comes to city, school?
So I'm happy to give you some clarification. I was not here at the January meeting, and Member Jorgens shared with me Wednesday, just before spring break. I asked the question of my colleagues, from our board to find out a little bit more information, because I wasn't at the January meeting, and I wasn't aware of it. I did have a conversation with the city manager about it afterwards, because again, it was still somewhat of a surprise to me. Like I was trying to like I haven't had the chance to have that conversation. And we've had a couple different conversations about student board members in our arena that we've talked about, including, maybe inviting the student board member from our alternative school is sitting up on the dais with us. And so there's been some discussions about that. I just think it's just something like, I think what you really want is you want student voice. That's what I'm hearing loud and clear. I think there's ways to do that. I just hope that her time and her schedule allows for it.
Sure.
We just haven't had a chance to let them know, like when they were applying with us, we didn't tell them about the liaison committee. And I think would have been a better place to at least float it, that there's going to be another commitment. Because they also serve on our LCAP, they serve on some other committees with us as well. And so I just want to make sure that the time's there. I feel like it's not going to be a problem, but I just like to be able to say something to them.
Mr. Chair, I'm willing to defer this item to June 23rd so we can have that conversation and hopefully come back here with a unanimous voice as to the importance of having youth representation on the board.
I think it's really important.
So I'll withdraw my motion for this time.
Thank you, I appreciate that.
I would just say I appreciate that, Member Hannon, because it is, when I walked away from the January meeting, I'll be honest with you, I didn't think that this was like going to be coming forward for a vote at our next meeting, at this next meeting. I thought it was an idea that we were talking about, but not that it was going to come to a vote tonight. So, I take that as board president. I will take that on as, I misunderstood or, didn't take it with as much seriousness. I just stepped into the presidency and was not thinking about how I would move forward with the student board member. So I apologize for not taking this back to Ms. Fakar and our student board member.
I just want to make it really clear. This is an invitation. It's not a mandate for them to be here. It's not an expectation that they're here. It's an invitation for them to participate on this committee and make sure that that voice is heard at the high school in terms of conversations between the school district and the city.
I think it's to be well received. I just would like to be able to let them know about it, because we spent a lot of time talking with the students when they were applying to be a member, and what the commitments were. And this is one that I did not share with them. And so I really like to be able to just go back and go take care of that. And again, I absolutely love the idea of having more student voice, especially in this arena. And I think they have a lot to say to you, to all four of you.
No, and I'm fine doing that. Like I said, given the kind of calendar and the term of the student board member, I don't think this is an urgent item. I also want to express a little disappointment that, this couldn't have been communicated a little bit better. So, things under old business, I like to see them, crossed out when they come up the second time. But hopefully moving forward, we can have a little more clarity on that so we can get a student voice. 'Cause I agree with you. There's a lot of students out there that, have a lot of things that, we could benefit from. As it stands right now, we're not hearing those in a formal setting. So adding, starting with one to get to the many is, I think a good step for us. All right, so with that, as the item C1 has been withdrawn, we're going to move on to new business. We're going to start with Joe Stoner, who's going to give us a presentation about what's going on at the library.
Thank you for this opportunity. So I want to start with kind of an overview of large-scale programs we do at the library over the summer that anyone can participate in. And then I'm going to focus on a handful of programs that are going to be for more select audience. So to start off, every year we have our summer adventure theme. This is the new and improved summer reading game. And our theme this year is Imagine and Build. Every 2 weeks, we'll have an activity handout that gives prompts for different things families can do together, including read, but lots of other activities out in the community along this theme. Personally, part of me wishes we could just have kids do what I did during the summer and build things like this with my siblings and friends. in the back of the wagon peeking over. Third grade Joe. This is the closest we can get to that right now in the library, but we do love to see what kids and adults build with our rigamajig. But we do offer a wide variety of special performances or events over the summer. Animal-themed programs are always immensely popular. We've had almost 300 people in the library on the first floor sometimes. This is definitely overflowing the meeting room, so we do it right out on the main floor. We've had bubble performers, musicians, puppeteers, and storytellers. And I'm really excited that since we moved into the new library, we've really coordinated with Coyote Hills, East Bay Regional Park on a lot of programs. Their naturalists are really busy during the school year working with schools, but over the summer, they're free to come to the library. So they also bring animals. We've had pop-up snake event in the lobby last year. They also do some programs around celebrating the Ohlone culture and tradition in our community. This is a sample of one of our bubble performers. This is Sterling the Bubblesmith, who's also an engineer and lawyer. I should mention we're still confirming final dates, so I don't have the dates for these yet, but this is representative of what we usually offer. A couple of our favorite storytellers who we actually did just have in the library last weekend for Dia de los Niños, Children's Day. This is Dr. Linda Gallo and Jaime Riascos. Dr. Linda started out as a professor and Jaime started out as an engineer, but their true passion is performing, acting, storytelling. They're quite famous in their native Colombia, but they live in the Bay Area now and they're starting to perform here. And this is a picture of our partnership with the Bay Area Community Health for the annual Ohana Health Fair. And I know, Mayor Hannon, you attended last year. We've hosted it inside the library the last 2 years. Previously, they would hold it outdoors. And in August, you all know, it can get pretty hot. So we're really happy how it's working out inside the library. They will schedule a couple of dozen area nonprofits and bring out all of the clinic departments to do health screenings. We've seen 600 to 700 people in a 4-hour time the last 2 years. So we're really excited about that. And keeping with the health theme, we're also really grateful for the school district providing our after-school meals and free summer lunch all year long. Throughout the year, we average giving out about 150 meals every day. So this is for ages 1 to 18. And I know you all care about this. I care because I think we do have students who would go hungry over the summer without this. So we do have some special programs planned this year. Actually, the way they're looking this year, they're all a little bit different than anything we've offered before. We have a 8-week speech camp that's coming up. We have 5 to 18 volunteers who have proposed a sequence. It's actually like speech and public policy, social activism all rolled together. And I'll go into a little more detail in a moment. We also have a new music program that's coming up this year. Couple of different math programs, one that is definitely focused on a small audience, and then something I want to talk more at length to engage all of our children and families in thinking about math. I think it'll be fun too. And then our Reading Buddies program, I'm going to close with that and go into some detail with that. But the speech camp, so I have talked with our volunteers, and I think we have several Newark Rotarians in our presence, Mayor Hannon and City Manager Banoon. Along with the 8-week speech program, I'm going to be pitching our annual youth speech contest to hopefully get some more enthusiasm behind that. For our music program, throughout the year, we work with the nonprofit Eternity Band. I have to say it's organized and led by a man named Johnny Q, and the groups that he organizes are giving over 100 concerts throughout the Bay Area in the year, and they organize our monthly First Saturday Music Hour, and they're also going to find 15 teens who have been studying piano for at least a few years, and we expect each of them will be able to teach beginning piano to 2 students. So again, we can't serve everyone, but this is an opportunity for 30 students who have not had access to private music lessons. And we also have a math enrichment group. There's a volunteer, a student who will be starting college at UC Davis in the fall studying physics, Pablo Reyes, who's also previously volunteered doing math support for students and parents. And this summer he wanted to come back and work with a small group, probably 5 students. I think we're gonna target middle school students who are struggling. We've gotten a lot of great referrals through the district parent partner office. I think that's where we'll be able to identify students who could really use some extra help over the summer. And for everyone else, we're kind of inspired by this book. I don't know if any of you have seen this before. It's called A Mathematician's Lament. And I'm not making any judgments about how math is taught in the Newark schools. This book really looks at how math is taught in the entire US. And that too often, Professor Lockhart says that the approach is more like if we taught art by only ever using paint by number, and that there's a way we could just open things up and really let students be creative with math. I mean, it sounds so contradictory to what I think I learned, and probably many of us have, but here's my pitch. So, oh, I went too far, sorry. So the question is, how big is Newark Library? And I started thinking about this and realized the answers are endless, really. We could start with some obvious ones. How many books are in Newark Library? About 100,000. How many pages are in all the books in Newark Library? Well, that's a little trickier, but I estimated 20 million pages, 200 average. How many letters are in all the words in all the books in Newark Library? And I came up with a number of 4 billion. But we have some other examples. And again, I'm looking at how this can all tie back to our summer adventure theme. Imagine, build. Imagine if people were only 1/10 the size we are. How many floors could we fit into the current Newark Library? Or how many ants would fit inside the Newark Library? And my answer is 19 billion. Thankfully, we don't have that many ants there. But what if you lined up all these ants in single file? How long would that line be? And it turns out it's 110,000 miles. I got one more for you. So one of the things I loved as a kid was trying to imagine models of large-scale things. Like I would walk and pace off steps to measure out long distances. Like, what if the Golden Gate Bridge landed in Newark? Where would it stretch from? And I checked Google Maps today and measured, and it would go past Dakota Road from here. But you've all seen or visited these solar system models. There's one in Washington, D.C., and you realize the outer planets get further and further apart. But then I started wondering, could we create a somehow somewhat approachable model of the entire Milky Way galaxy? And I got one, and then I'm going to move on. So the Milky Way galaxy is about 100,000 light years across in diameter. And Newark Library is about 50 meters long. So that would be from the center of the galaxy to the outer edge. So to make this model work, all you have to do is to be able to imagine that a millimeter is a light year, or 6 trillion miles. I'll leave you with that. Moving on. So I'm really excited. One of our newest staff, Jenny Chavez Valencia, has brought back our Reading Buddies program. We had kind of blended it with our homework help program since we moved into the new library, but she saw the need. She was a volunteer in the program when she was a high school student, and some of the things that she's been able to do, she has a second job for another school district as an early literacy specialist, so working with kindergartners, first graders, and giving them one-on-one support. And we were able to identify 3 Newark Memorial Puente students who have been assisting her and currently serving 6 students in the Reading Buddies program who Jenny has identified are at least 2 grade levels below in their reading level. We've got whiteboards, they're reading together one-on-one, and we really are seeing results already in just a few months of students who just did not want to try reading at all, and they're checking out armloads of books. We've got another group that Jenny's working with as well for a reading club, which is a little smaller group setting, and we have 9 students in there. Those students are all 3rd graders or older, but again, are reading several grade levels below the grade they're in. She said some are even 3 years behind their academic level. But together they're reading, books from the Magic Treehouse series, and traditionally we've put the Reading Buddies program on hiatus over the summer, but with the progress they're already making, Jenny really wants to continue through the summer. So I'm really excited about that. I did get permission from Jenny to tell a little bit of her personal story, because I think it is really important, and it challenges some of the negative stereotypes of Newark students. So Jenny and her 3 sisters all grew up in Newark, all attended Schilling for all 7 years, K through 6. Her oldest sister has already graduated from college. Jenny just graduated from UC Davis, and their younger sister is in college as well. And when I hear her story of what her family life has been like, it always reminds me of this article. And I know the headline is kind of provocative, but it's really looking at, in different communities, we look at the progress from one generation to the next, improvement in level of education, financial well-being. And these 2 professors in their research in the LA metro area decided that, in fact, it is Mexican Americans who are seeing the biggest growth from one generation to the next. And I definitely see that in Jenny. We're so happy she can be here. She has so many connections to people in the community, and it's really been a powerful thing for moving our Latino community service forward. So that's my presentation. Are there any questions or comments?
We open up to any questions from members.
No questions, other than one. The term thingamajig, is that a scientific term, or how do you understand thingamajig? No, yes. Joe, you've heard me say this time and again. The work you're doing in the library is just outstanding. The innovation, the programs, the participation that we see year in and year out, and the new programs that you bring to the library year in and year out is just a testament to your willingness to try any and all things to expand the knowledge base in our community, and you're to be commended for that. The question I had regarding the students that are struggling with math in the middle school that'll be taking some summer math programs, is there an opportunity, and maybe it's more a question for the superintendent, is there an opportunity for them to maybe improve the grade that they had in school with a demonstration that through summer school that they elevated their skill set to the point where maybe a low grade that they received in middle school can now be modified? I don't know if that's something more for the superintendent.
Well, it's a great thought, but I will say that there is an academic element to when the teacher goes off and gives the grade. That's their grade, right? So that's the grade that they've earned. Now, the best part of this whole entire program is that it really gives the students a real leg up and an interest to be able to take on the next math year, right? And I think it's that teacher that probably gets the biggest benefit of getting the student who's excited about being able to work through math and through concepts and through imagination and different ways to be able to solve the problems. I think those are where the real areas lie for helping the student, do better and have a different outlook on the approach to mathematics versus just being an open textbook and answering questions 1 through 20.
Certainly puts them in a much more positive frame of mind
Absolutely.
when it comes to math in and of itself.
I mean, I love listening to like all the different, ways that you could figure out the size of the library. I mean, my imagination was going kind of crazy in different kinds of ways.
The only thing I would ask, in addition, Joe, if you'd be kind enough, because I was surprised by this article, that as you described it, would you please be kind enough to share a copy of the article with the 4 members here?
There is a link in the presentation.
Okay, great, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Soner, for the great presentation. Just one quick question. So you talked about Reading Buddies. Is that a program that's organized through the library?
Yes.
Okay, great. Thank you.
And then I had a quick question about the summer free meals. So just help me understand, if I was a kid who was hungry and, there's a free meal at the library, what's the bridge there? How does, is there an application process? Are there qualifications? How does that work?
So I've worked with Mary Sayers, the nutrition director, on this for years now. And my understanding is because of the percentage of students in Newark that are free and reduced price lunch eligible, they don't need to provide that verification. In other cities, it has been the case, but that's why Newark has been able to offer the free meals at the library offsite. We're not verifying income when anyone arrives.
That's great to hear. And I just want to say I really appreciated the presentation. Also enjoyed the how big is the library comments. I was, with your example of, if everyone, how many floors would the library have if everyone was a tenth of the size? I've been trying to think of a Gulliver's Travel joke for the remainder of the presentation, but I needed a couple more slides for it to come to me. But really good work the library is doing in the city of Newark, so thank you.
Thank you.
Is there any member of the public that would like to speak on this item? All right, then up next will be a update on the Newark Resource Center.
Actually, I wanted to see if it would be okay for us to have Ms. Allard, who's our assistant superintendent of educational services, just get up and speak just real briefly about some of the summer programs that are happening at Newark Unified School District.
So I guess it would appear we're under item D2 at this point, so we'll switch D2 with D1.
Okay. So we're switching D2 and D1 on the agenda unless there's strong objections, and we'll happy to hear presentation.
And then following this presentation, I understand that we have our Recreation and Community Services Director who will also speak about upcoming summer programming from the city's perspective.
Fantastic.
Good evening. So great to meet many of you for the first time, and how exciting that you're getting different perspectives about what's going to be happening in the Newark community in June and July. Newark Unified will be offering 3 unique programs for our students and their families. The first will be an elementary program that will be held at Coyote Hills Elementary as well as Schilling. This is a 20-day program. It's a 9-hour day provided by our outside provider of Think Together, who will be doing enrichment activities as well as academics. So anything from extended learning to STEAM and STEM to arts and crafts, and also definitely during the summer months, sports. It will be starting from 8 to 5 p.m., in which open to all students who apply to attend. There is no cost. For our general education students who happen to have an IEP, we'll be offering a 20-day summer school program at Schilling Elementary, just in the morning only, a 4-hour program to help students who reach their IEP goals, who might just need a little bit of different assistance based on what's written in their IEP document. And then at the high school level, we will also be offering a new, unique, different program, which usually it's 20 days. We're going to be offering a 10-day intensive program in which students can take credit recovery classes. For example, maybe they were struggling in a class first semester and they need to remake that class, that grade up, so that they can continue on with their requirements for graduation. In the morning, it'll be a 5-hour time where they will be taking their first semester class. And if students also need to be taking a second semester makeup class, they will go for an additional 5 hours in the afternoon until early evening. The benefit of this particular model is that it's 10 days so that families and students actually get a 7-week summer vacation instead of going until almost 4th of July, which has been previous practice. So we got feedback from high school principal, we got feedback from teachers at the high school. We're like, let's give this a try and see how it works, and we're excited to bring back some possible feedback on what we learned. But those will be the 3 different programs that we'll be offering during the month of June and July.
Yes, if any member has questions.
Just as it relates to the high school youngsters that are looking to make up credits for courses that they've struggled in, I'm certainly a big believer that we want all of our kids to graduate from high school. It's a momentous occasion. It puts them on the right path academically. What percentage of our, and you may not know this answer, and I'm willing to take the answer later, what percentage of our Newark High School graduates currently go on to a 2 or 4-year college?
It's not off the top of my head, but it should be, because I'm working on the LCAP right now.
Yeah.
But I can get that information for you.
Great. Appreciate it. Thank you. And what does IEP stand for?
Individual Education Plan for our special education students.
Okay, thank you.
And then just for me, you mentioned that for the students with the IEPs, they were getting, some of their programs at Schilling. Are there other sites being used, or is it just Schilling?
Schilling is the home where the program will be held, but any student who has an individual education plan or is in our special education department would be going to Schilling to have those services.
Okay. Thank you for your presentation.
Okay. Thank you.
Is Nick going to be as quick as
I got a lot of interesting facts for you. Let's see if I
Hey, Nick, you guys do so much good at the community center. I appreciate what you do.
can do this. Now, how do I bring it over? All right. Good evening, your Honorable Mayor, Council Member, School Board members, and Superintendent Vicar, and City Manager David Badin. My presentation here is the Recreation and Community Services Summer Programming Update for the City of Newark's programming. And so I want to start off with the City of Newark. It is our mission to serve and partner with our community to continually enhance the quality of life for everyone in Newark. So tonight, my presentation will cover the Recreation Community Services Department mission as we build off of the city's mission. Recreation scholarships, summer hours, summer programming, summer special events, and then there's an area for question and answers. So, Newark's place to play, Newark Recreation and Community Services Department. Our mission of the Recreation and Community Service Department is to enrich and strengthen the well-being of all community members through recreation programs, services, and facilities by promoting personal development, healthy lifestyles, community involvement, and inclusiveness. The way that we're able to do this in our community here in the great city of Newark is we have a couple recreation centers. So there's the Silliman Activity and Family Aquatic Center, which is kind of the hub of recreation. We have the Clark W. Redeker Newark Senior Center, so if any students are 55 and over, feel free to send them on that way. Maybe an adult education center. We have the Newark Community Center, which is currently closed during the week, but open on the weekends for rentals. And then we have the Newark Child Care Center Annex, which is also located at the Newark Community Center, which is a licensed child care program through the state of California for up to 48 students. We currently offer it about $245 per week, which is a really good deal in this area. So if you're looking for child care and the school district one's full, please send them our way. We also have the Ash Street Summer Park program, and so this is a very unique program that we offer each year at the Ash Street Park, and so I have some information for you. The Ash Street Summer Park registration camp will be running from June 23rd through July 25th. It's Monday through Friday from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. It's located at the Jerry Rabber Ash Street Park. And then this program here that we have, it's $10 for the entire summer period, which is a great steal. And so the Ash Street Summer Park program is for Newark residents, kindergarten graduates to 11 years of age. Daily lunch is included through NUSD's lunch program. We have been providing lunch through NUSD now for many years, which is we're so happy to continue. There will be also games, sports, special events, and arts and crafts. And then registration for that program begins May 5th. So there you go. And then also we have the Newark Resource Center, which is coming soon, which you will see a presentation on here shortly. And then also the city of Newark offers access to 15 parks and sport play facilities, which is about 131 acres. Now, the crown jewel of the summer, which I think everybody is aware of, is the Silliman Activity and Family Aquatic Center. So our facility hours start June 9th through August 1st, 2025. This is our summer programming period. So as you can see, the facility will be open for fitness and the gymnasium Monday through Friday from 6 a.m. to 9 p.m., Saturday from 7 a.m. to 6:30 p.m., Sunday from 7 a.m. to 5:30. And then the best part, which is located here in our middle photo right here, is our water park. That will be open Monday through Friday from 12:30 p.m. to 4 p.m. and then on Saturday, Sunday from 12:30 to 5. We also have our holiday closure hours, which are just for, we will be closed June 4th. We're doing a huge staff training day to get ready for the summer. And then we'll be closed on July 4th for 4th of July. In addition to those programs, the type of programs that we offer, we have enrichment programs, which are subject-based and customized to fit the needs of the intended recipient, which includes the Newark Resource Center, Senior Recreation Programs, Camp Newark, Ash Street Summer Program, the preschool, licensed childcare, special events, and then we also have leisure programs, which are recreation-based activities that provide social benefits such as lap swim, recreation swim, basketball, dance classes, art, youth and adult sports, seniors, and special events. Now, the next part that we have here is scholarships is to help individuals pay for classes. So the Recreation and Community Service Department, under the great leadership of the city of Newark, we are able to offer a scholarship program for Newark youth that are under 17 and under. The program covers 75% of the participants' cost, and participants pay the remaining 25%. Through the program benefits, we are currently, the scholarship program for this summer has capacity for 200 scholarships at $300 each annually based on the available funding, which accounts for roughly about $60,000 this summer that we're looking at. The program eligibility, we work very closely with NUSD nutrition program. And so as long as you have a letter from NUSD's child nutrition program stating that you qualify for the free reduced lunch, that counts as your eligibility requirements. We will just take that directly from the school district. And so you don't need anything else because we look at it as NUSD has kind of gone through that process with the federal government, and so their requirements are a little bit more stringent. And so we will go ahead and accept that, but also we will take CalFresh or other income verifying documents that meet low-income guidelines for Alameda County. Where to apply for these benefits, you can apply in person at the Silliman Center or online. Scholarship information is available both in English and Spanish, and we do have staff that can assist in Spanish translation when coming to the center to help out and register for programs. Okay, summer programming offered this summer. So we have many classes. Sorry, that's probably going a little too fast for you guys, but that's our activity guide. I was just like, whoa, going crazy. So if you're interested, you can scan our QR code up there. It'll take you to our activity guide. Here, this just shows you all the types of classes that we have offered. So we have about 45 distinct camps and programs for youth and teen specialty classes, including dance, self-defense, karate, chess, volleyball, and kendo. There's about 22 classes available for aquatic programming, which is swim lessons, preschool, youth, adult, competitive, private, water aerobics. We have adult classes and leagues from Zumba, Bear, energy training, which is like energy through iron. So if you've done CrossFit, we have programs such as those. And so roughly there's about 95 classes, camps, or programs offered throughout this entire summer season. And so far today, I took a look to see how many participants we have registered. So far for our summer season, we have 3,284 participants registered for the summer programming. And it's not even May 1 yet, so which I think is a great feat for us. Go. I think we finished that one. Sorry about that one. Also information of how we get the information out to Newark residents is we do send out this postcard right here. Oh, you can't see it, sorry. On the, you might notice if everyone here should live in Newark. And so you might have received one of our postcards in your mailbox about our programming. And so that's another way that we get our information out. We work very closely on social media and building our list, and then also working with the school district through Peach Jar to get certain targeted information out to students. Also, we have multiple special events that are coming up this summer. So as you can see, we have the City of Newark's Groovin' at the Grove, which starts on Fridays from 5 to 7:30 p.m. on June 13th, June 27th, July 11th, and July 25th. This is a great event to come out to, and we actually had the Newark Education Foundation that came out last year and tabled at all of the Groovin' at the Grove events. And so we are very pleased with that, so that way we can help share information about the district with the community participants. There's also the City of Newark's Mariachi Festival, which is on Sunday, July 27th from 1 to 5 p.m. We also have the City of Newark's Juneteenth. It's our second annual. This one is a little bit bigger than last year, so if you attended last year, you might want to attend this year's. So we're looking to have some fun. And then there's also the free Big Truck Day, which is on Tuesday, June 24th at the Silliman Center. So we just pretty much take all the big equipment trucks from our Public Works Department, other cities, usually Alameda County Water District will have a truck that comes out. We do it in the parking lot at the Silliman Center. Kids get to go and do all the fun stuff with big trucks, sit in it, take a lovely photo, and then we have a whole bunch of information left over. To share with the families. And so this is our, you can view our special events online at newarkca.gov/rec events. And we would be more than happy to have the school board come out and support during these events. We do have one that's, it's not listed in here. You will be getting some invites here shortly. It's for the Ash Street Summer Barbecue, which we hold annually, and we do invite everyone to come out. This year it's going to be on Wednesday, July 23rd from 4 to 5:30 p.m. And so we will be sending out invitations to everyone.
If they're ordering the hot dogs real quick.
Yes, so hot dogs and burgers, yes, they do go fast. And that is a free event to the community there in Ash Street. We do it in conjunction with the Ash Street Summer Program, just to kind of bring everyone together. and end out the summer in good times. The other thing is here we have our Let's Get Social. So if you are not on our social media pages, the City of Newark's Recreation Department is on Facebook, Instagram, and MailChimp. And so the MailChimp is for a monthly email blast. And so it has all of our different programmings, different classes that we're offering. We also share information from local service providers of different things that are happening in the community. I would also be willing to open that up to the school district to kind of share some information maybe on upcoming new registration, summer programs, anything like that, so that way we can help be a partner. The one great thing is I can say is this week on Wednesday, we were able to finally bring back our collaborative meeting between the city, the school district, and the library. So we'll be meeting on Wednesday where we kind of just come together. How do we share resources and do what's best for the Newark youth as three big pillars in the community that are supporting youth. And so I'm very excited to bring that back after a little bit of hiatus. And so that will be this Wednesday. And so that is all I have. If you have any questions, I'd be more than happy to answer.
I just want to say thank you for the presentation. My granddaughter does take advantage of the Ash Street Park. She really enjoys that camp in the summer, so as well as swim lessons. So yeah. Yes. But thank you for the info.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Cuevas, for the great presentation. Just one quick question regarding your last comment. So talking about bringing the three pillars together. So parks, the library, and the school. So who's our representative on the school side?
So for that one, it is myself from the city, and then Tracy will be there.
Okay.
And so it's just kind of at a staff level to kind of start, and then we kind of cultivate information out of there and potentially bring it forward.
Okay, great.
So no policymakers are really there. So,
okay.
If that's where you're kind of asking.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yes, great presentation, Nick. The Ash Street Park summer program, is there a certain limitation on the number of students that can participate in that program?
Not really. We've had anywhere from 100 kids, 130 to up to 180.
Okay, perfect.
The good thing is that because it's a whole summer program, it's usually about about 7. Don't quote me. It's a couple weeks long during the summer, and so we don't have the full amount of children that are there each day, so it kind of helps balance itself out. So one of the things that we like to do is we do sometimes get a wait list. We kind of let the first week kind of go, maybe the second week to kind of see what the trends are. And then if we're seeing that, not everyone's coming because a lot of children, they kind of might come to this camp, 3 times a week compared to the full 5. So we kind of work there. And so we try our best to make sure that any child that is on the wait list, we're trying to get them into that program. Or giving them information resources about the scholarships, or where potentially those funds could help cover other classes that are open for them.
And I think I heard you correctly, Nick, the Ash Street Park summer program, the cost is $10?
Yes, $10.
$10.
It used to be...
That's not a mistake, $10.
Yeah, it used to be $0, but we added in a $10, it's like a commitment fee. So it's like, are you going to sign up for us for all summer, pay that $10, which is really great.
And then you mentioned the water park, that there are 200 scholarships available. Are those exclusively for Newark residents, or will you allow others in the Tri-City area to apply for scholarships if they have a need and there's opportunity?
Currently, right now, our scholarship program is only designed for Newark youth living in the city of Newark. Mm-hmm. Now, if we have had people come to us before where, they can't qualify for our program, but what we try to do is to try to connect them to different resources that might be able to help them with. A lot of those ones we will actually recommend that we send them to possibly the Salvation Army here in town, because they also run a summer camp program that might be a little bit easier for them. But with my experience over the past 12 years here, we haven't really seen much of that.
Okay. Excellent. Thank you, Nick.
Okay, you're welcome.
Thank you for your presentation. Seems like a lot of great stuff going on over the summer, so we're really excited to see that.
Oh, my last comment, and I hope I'm not spilling the beans on this, Mr. Benoon, and if I am, oh, well, it's too late now anyway. We hope to come out with a new newsletter. Right now, we have our quarterly newsletter, and there's been some conversation when we get our new communications manager, we may be looking at opportunities to come up with a new newsletter for our community. And I think with all the programs that you provide and all the programs that Joe Stoner provides at the library, there's so much information that can be put in that newsletter that will benefit our community. I'm looking forward to that opportunity down the road.
Definitely. Thank you.
We'll talk later.
Thank you very much. With that, I'd ask if there's any comments from members of the public that are here on this item. Seeing none, we'll move on to item D1, Newark Resource Center update.
You got one? I'm doing the first part of this presentation. There we go. All right, I'll make sure it's all correct. All right, so here's our next presentation. It's the Newark Resource Center Construction and Programming Update. This is a special one for us. It's great to see new things coming into town, especially that are going to really benefit our residents here. So with that, we'll go ahead and get started. So tonight's presentation will contain two parts, and I will be co-presenting with Recreation Community Services Supervisor, Jasenia Tamani. And so, get started. Okay, this is the agenda for this evening. I will provide some background information, review the design and construction, and give an update of the construction schedule. After providing an update on the construction schedule, I'll pass it over to Recreation Community Services Supervisor Jasenia Tamani to provide an overview of the Newark Resource Center's programming and community outreach that we have been working on. The presentation will conclude with next steps and an opportunity for any questions. Okay, so before I provide the update on the construction process, it's important to give some context on the significance of the project. The Newark Resource Center will serve as a connection point for social services in the Newark community. The need for such a center arises from the growing recognition that many individuals and families face significant barriers in accessing social services. This resource center will provide a space for local nonprofits and community organizations to connect with the Newark community. With that, I'm excited to provide an update on the construction progress. There we go. Okay, so if you're unfamiliar with the location or where the Newark Resource Center is going, the Newark Resource Center will be located right next to, in the Jerry Rabber Ash Street Park, next to the Viola Blythe Community Center. So as you can see over here on the picture, if I can get my laser pointer to work, sorry. Okay, so here's the overview of the Jerry Rabber Ash Street Park. So as you can see, it is located back over here next to the Viola Blythe Center. And so here's Ash Street, here are the park bathrooms, and then the Viola Blythe Community Services Center in the middle, and then the Newark Resource Center. The Newark Resource Center was formerly used as a Head Start building. We had a contract with that organization. They vacated in 2019. It is also the home of the Ash Street Summer Program. So this will also be a split home. So during the Ash Street Summer Program, it will also serve those individuals. And then during off hours of the camp, it will be a resource center. And so our Ash Street Summer Program has a home to maintain. Okay, so here the total estimated cost of the center is about roughly $2 million. We did receive an initial seed funding from the project, came from ARPA funding, but as we see here, we had $600,000 allocated from the American Rescue Plan, $1 million secured from the state of California through efforts of Assembly Member Alex Lee. So Alex Lee, if you are listening, thank you. $232,000 in community development block grant funds. $160,000 was appointed from the Capital Improvement Fund. Construction began shortly thereafter. Oops, sorry. And then in June 2023, city contracts with KPA Group for architectural and engineering services for the Newark Resource Center started. June of 2024, city contracts with Cumming Management Group, Inc. for the construction management services took place. And then October 10th, the City Council awarded construction contract to S&H Construction, Inc. for the Newark Resource Center. So here is a rendering of what the Newark Resource Center is going to look like. So as you can see, it has done a fantastic job of transforming this area a little bit here. So here again is the Viola Blythe Community Services Center right in the middle, the bathrooms, and then the Newark Resource Center here. So the rendering really shows the extent of the site work and how it will be positively impacting the entire area. The interior renovations will include updated bathrooms, minor roof repairs, interior ADA upgrades, a new kitchenette, upgraded storage, and a welcoming lobby and reception area. As the rendering shows, there will be landscaping in both the front and back of the center, a new playground, new parking stalls, security lighting enhancements, among other improvements. The project will also include painting the restroom building and the Viola Blythe complementary colors to really create a cohesive site. So all those buildings there are going to be painted, so that way it doesn't seem like the Resource Center stand out on its own, but we are all there together. And here's the color palette for the exterior of the building. The color palette draws inspiration from the photo in the corner here. There we go. Right over here, as you can see, are different colors of the building. The color palette draws inspiration from the photo in the corner, adding a touch of brightness while maintaining balance with the surrounding residential neighborhood. Now, the inspiration for the interior colors were pulled from the existing mural in the building. So if you've never been in the Ash Street Park building, there is a mural there. This mural was created by Linda Patterson in partnership with the community. It is a little difficult to see in the photo, but the mural says Friends of Ash Street Community Enrichment. Friends for Ash Street Community Enrichment was a nonprofit that was launched in the 90s and provided services and activities to youth of the Ash Street neighborhood. This mural has intentionally been preserved to hold on to its piece of Newark history. The mural has been protected during construction, and so it's doing a great job there. So it's intact. Nothing's touched it. And so we've been keeping an eye on that one really closely because that kind of draws the lot of the inspiration for our center. Okay, so now that we have covered the design and finishes, let's look ahead at the timeline. As I mentioned, construction began in November of 2024 and has continued to progress on schedule. With the project nearing completion, there are only a couple significant milestones ahead. The key milestones are associated with PG&E design and construction completion. S&H Construction cannot complete the construction until PG&E has completed its work. So, with that, I believe we are now in the PG&E queue for our getting everything ready to go. So with that, we're potentially looking at an August, late summer grand opening based off once the project is completed. And so everyone here will be invited, and it will be a great community celebration for all of us. And so be on the lookout for invitations here soon. Okay, now that I have covered the construction phase, we can move on to the programming. The project team, which is Jasenia Tamani and myself and Veronica. Sorry. Okay, so now we move on to Jasenia. It's a little, the buttons are weird.
We'll tag team this. Thank you so much for allowing us space to just share the vision of the Newark Resource Center. It's an honor to be in your presence, committee members. As Nick mentioned, my name is Jasenia Taimani. I am the Recreation Supervisor overseeing our Human Services Division, specifically overseeing the Newark Resource Center. So as Nick mentioned, he did all the fun construction stuff. And like I said, it is an honor to be a part of this team in the planning and programming. So we're going to give you a little bit of the insight on our efforts and kind of the roadmap ahead. So there are 4 key elements that we're really keeping at the core in our planning phases. It's accessibility, collaboration, empowerment, and community building. We want to ensure resources and services are inclusive and easy to access for all community members. In collaboration, we really want to foster partnerships with local organizations, businesses, government agencies to expand services and our outreach efforts. And we really want to empower our community. We want to provide opportunities that foster self-sufficiency, personal growth, and active participation in the community. And going off the community, we really want this space to be able to really build community, right? It's creating a space where community members can connect, share ideas, and really build these support networks, because I know how important it is to be surrounded by a positive community when you're in these seasons of life where you need that additional assistance. So that's really going to be important for us as a team to really be able to create those safe spaces for our members and residents. So that's kind of at the core of our game plan. And there are some ways that we are anticipating and going about to do that. And those are through outreach, utilizing social media, local events. We are very excited to be attending an event that's happening at the middle school, May 7th, just to be able to connect with our community a little bit more with Newark Unified School District. And also with our partnerships. Like I mentioned, it's really collaborating with our nonprofits and just having these resources available at our center to be able to provide more services and really just creating those strong community partnerships. And the other thing is we're really looking at getting community feedback, and we've been doing several different things to do that. It's regularly gathering with our community, even after these efforts, through surveys and just really getting their input to make sure that our vision is aligning with the needs of our community. So we have kind of kicked off our engagement outreach. We've had some really successful engagement opportunities. We did have a lunch and learn for our service providers and community-based organizations. We opened up our community surveys at our Family Day at the Park that kicked off April 12th. I am pleased to say we have 326 communities complete that we get to pull information from, and we're not even close to being done. We're looking at wrapping that up at the end of May. So really looking to get those numbers up even more as we attend these different events. And also we are doing a series of community listening sessions to really just allow our community to come into a space, kind of hear a similar presentation, and just really dream about what this center looks like in the future. As I mentioned, we did do a lunch and learn, and that happened on April 8th. It turned out to be a really great event. We had 30 local government agencies, nonprofits came to the Silliman Center and got to hear us just share a little bit about what we hope this space to be, and really inviting them to collaborate with us. Our goal is to really have a rotating schedule of local nonprofits that are holding space in the center, that any individual could come and receive services from anybody on any given day. There was an exercise that we did do at our lunch and learn that kind of sparked some excitement. We envisioned providers to see what the future holds for us, and they were prompted to write a newspaper article and selecting a point in time. They were able to pick a year out from now, 3 years from now, 5 years from now, 10 years from now, and just really envisioning what the Resource Center's future looks like. I did share at our council meeting that one of my favorite headlines read, the date was, I think, 2035, so 10 years from now, and it said the Newark Resource Center closes. And at first I was like, oh, that's so rude. We're working so hard. What do you mean it closes? And they said, Newark Resource Center closes because all the needs of the community have been met. The resource center is no longer needed. The article went on to say that our staff took an early retirement and we're enjoying life on a private island. I did joke that that is my 10-year goal, so watch out. You guys can join me on that island if it happens. But yeah, those lunch and learn was a lot of fun, and I really feel like we created some really great partnerships in that space. So I'm looking forward to working with them in the future. The other opportunity that we are giving our community is to attend some community listening sessions. And this is really to ensure that we are hearing the needs of the community, because we on the background can do all of this planning and say, hey, I think we need X, Y, Z, and the community really wants A, B, and C. So we want to make sure that our vision is aligning with what the community wants. We did have a listening session at the Silliman Center on April 17th, and I want to thank Joe Stoner, he's still in the back there. We did host one at the library last week and had a great turnout with a lot of great questions being asked, and just being able to share and dream with our community members has been probably my most favorite part of this journey so far. We do have one more community listening session happening at the Senior Center this Wednesday from 12 to 1. They're telling me that seniors only come to things that really interest them. So I made sure to show up to bingo on Thursday and call bingo and personally invite each and every one of them to come out and join me for an hour. So I did get a lot of positive feedback. So I'm hoping that we can break some numbers here at our community listening session next Wednesday. But yeah, so these are kind of the efforts that we are taking to make sure that we are running the course with this resource center. Like Nick said, there is going to be a big grand opening, so I'm excited for that, but I'm really more excited about the residents that we really get to be there and support through this resource center. So our next steps are really continuing to push our surveys and really analyzing the feedback and making sure that our mission is aligning with what the community wants and the vision for this space. So with that, are there any questions?
And I would also like to state that NUSD was represented at the Lunch and Learn via Ashley Acosta.
Was in the building.
We were so excited to have you guys there.
Yes, I'll look to my colleagues for questions here. Sorry.
Oh, I was just going to say, thank you for the presentation. I feel really up to date on what's going on. I'm excited about seeing the center when it's finished, and I know you've got the senior center kind of across the park from there. So it seems like it's really becoming a nice center in that community there. So thank you.
Member Hill?
Yes, thank you for the great presentation. So I just have one question. I think it's more directed towards Mr. Cuevas. So I'm just curious, you talked about the color scheme of the building, and I'm just wondering if you think that that's going to pose any potential problems for the neighbors on the parallel street, the Stanford Hub.
Is that for the colors or for
the color scheme? I'm just teasing.
We shall see. Hasn't been painted yet, but
I think they'll enjoy it.
It'll be good, yeah. It's part of our, the city of Newark is also doing a public art program, and so this is our first take at a public art with brighter colors in the community.
Just don't be surprised if on big game day something happens. So.
Yeah, there's a tree dancing in front of that one then.
Great project. I love this project. It's been in the discussion stages for some time now. Multiple languages will be provided to folks that come into the resource center. It's really the beginning of our revitalization, in my opinion, of kind of the Old Town neighborhood. We've talked about Old Town and the number of specific plans we've had for that neighborhood. This really kind of demonstrates to that community that we are committed to making improvements that are going to be to the betterment of that community. And I think this is the first big step, and I'm really excited about its opening. So thank you for all the outstanding work that you're doing. I'm hoping that a lot of these nonprofits start stumbling over each other, recognizing this is a place to be, to get information at a centralized location to the residents of Newark. I think it's going to be a tremendous success, so thank you.
Yes, terrific presentation. Seems like we're on track for the Resource Center to become, a really trusted place for Newark families to go and, find the resources that they need. So really excited to, get the doors open there. Thank you.
And just for Mayor Hannon on your comment there, I am so sorry, I just threw a blank.
We are having so much fun doing all of the planning.
I am so sorry. I totally just couldn't.
Well, I know that we're going to provide services to, I know we're going to provide services to multiple languages, not just Spanish, but I know that there's a number of languages used in our community, and we'll be prepared for that as well.
Okay, I just remembered, sorry. It's only Monday. And so the great thing is you mentioned that the service providers are kind of jumping over to get into the center. That is happening right now. And so Jasenia is getting calls and emails every day being like, hey, we attended your lunch and learn. How do we sign up for to get on the schedule and do these things? So there is a huge desire from these organizations to come into the center, which is going to be really great. They provide a lot of the services in the different languages. They already have all the flyers, and so which we think will be a very complementing to the center.
Good. Keep up the good work.
Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any members of the public who wish to speak on this item? Seeing none, we can move on to item D3. That's the NUSD facilities update.
Well, thank you. So I'm excited to share with you just a little bit of information about where we are at with the board. Currently, we have been going out to our school sites, and the board had engaged in a master plan several years ago. We are doing an update to that just to make sure that it's still on track and on where we needed to be. We also are looking at the priority things that have to be done. So in looking at the $205 million bond, we know that we're going to be doing it in segments. And the first segment is really about those emergency things that really are about safety, making sure that our HVAC systems are working, the things that we kind of have to take the tourniquet off and just actually do a full out, repair on versus, constantly putting the Band-Aids on. So that really is our first set that we're going to withdraw. It's about $30 million that we're anticipating. We are in conversations with our fiscal advisors on all of that. The board also, I'm very excited to share that we have gone out for an RFP for legal services to begin our 7-11 process. And interviews are being conducted tomorrow evening with those that applied. And so we look forward to bringing that back to the board so that we can begin that. That really is to try to address the music property and the snow property. So those two properties are the main ones that we're talking about, although we are going to be talking in the very near future about all of our properties and what does that look like? What does the size of our school district look like for the future? We're losing still between 150 and 180 students a year. So that's still concerning. And with that, we have to sit there and make sure that we are good stewards with the monies that we have and that we're able to support a good, strong academic program at the school sites that we currently are operating. So I'm sure there will be some other future discussions, probably more like around just philosophically, at what point do we have a discussion about should we ever need to close down another school facility? When do we start engaging in those conversations? Is there a number that we need to be looking at? Is there a change that we can do with configurations, with grade levels? In our listening tour that we did when we did for the school bond, one of the things that we heard is that they really liked our PGP model. So the BGP model is our primary grades, and they really like having the TK through second graders all together. That's a piece that is very much so something that our community really likes and that we heard a lot of feedback on. So that might be a model that might be something that will help us grow. We're definitely seeing a higher enrollment right now with our TK students. TK starting a little bit earlier this year. TK will begin starting at 4 years old, and I believe the date that their birthday needs to be is on June 2nd this year. So if they are 4 by the time June 2nd hits, they are eligible for TK. So the state has changed that guideline. They've actually moved the timeline up a little bit. So we're going to see an earlier set of children coming in at the TK level. And same for kindergarten. Kindergarten will also be pushed back a little bit to that same timeline dates that we'll be working with. So those are some new changes that are happening. But we are excited about the work that's getting ready to move forward. We're excited about the commitment that we've made to the community for school improvements and to bring just to be able to help our students with their learning. I think that's probably the most important thing. And it's time. And so there's definitely some facilities that could use some upgrades and some updates that need to happen with them. But first and foremost, we want to make sure that we address the safety issues. Questions?
Yes, thank you for the presentation. I will look to my colleagues for any questions or comments.
I have some questions and comments. I love the TK program, the enrollment of 4-year-old. It's kind of like your minor leagues. We're getting those kids into the minor league system early, and it's really a nice alternative to those families that struggle with the cost of daycare. If I can now enroll my child into school, that'll certainly alleviate the cost for the child care for a child of that age, which is great. I don't understand or fully understand the 7-Eleven process. My understanding that's a requirement that you need to go through for the disposition of school property. Is that correct?
That's correct.
And so help me, and I'm not going to hold you any timelines as you understand it, but help me understand the process. So you form a 7-Eleven committee. Do they start doing recommendations in terms of what should be happening with these? Help me understand that process.
Mayor, if I can jump in.
Sure.
If you can start your answer to the question, I don't know anything about the
There we go.
process. So I'd like to see, start to finish, why do we need to do it? What's the purpose? What happens? Kind of what's the end result of the process?
I was only a step ahead of you, I think.
Well, let me see if I can try to address some of those things. And it's a very complicated process, but it doesn't have to be complicated. It can be very simple. And a 7-Eleven process can be relatively quick, or it could be drawn out. It kind of decides on the input of what you're going to have with the community, and also what the projects might be that might be actually housed on those sites. But I think the first piece is that you have to really go off and you have to assess your real estate value. That will be probably the first step probably in the process. We're going to learn a little bit more about the various processes that are being recommended by the different law firms. So right now I probably can't go deeper in the timelines. I think it might be a bigger discussion maybe for June, where I could actually talk to you about what some of the timelines are and what might be chosen by our board as to what they want to be able to move forward with. Again, the 7-Eleven committee could be drawn out by years. It could also be a very short, concise program that can be done. So it really just all depends on the scope of what we want to be able to do with the property, and how to best utilize that property for the public's interest.
And I would imagine there's consultation with the city regarding, as you look at the valuation of the property and the disposition, what we will do with it, whether it be some kind of a housing project, as we did with Russian. Is there a conversation with the city in terms of what would the city approve, what would the city allow at this location? When do those conversations begin?
Yeah, they could have actually begun even before the 7-Eleven process. I just think with the timelines of what we're looking at and knowing the conditions of the property, I think we're moving forward with the 7-Eleven committee. By all means, I think we can come back to the city and we can ask to have a change done to the property if it's zoned a certain way. Those are definitely some things. The other things that the property can be used for or be considered for might be for either teacher housing. That could be an opportunity for us to be able to bring something in for teachers, senior housing, doing something with public service housing. Those are other opportunities that we could look at and be part of. I don't know that will be the outcome, but I think really to have the smorgasbord of what are the things that the committee would like to be able to see, and also listen to the community to be able to get input. That really is your first steps of what needs to happen.
I think that, as Superintendent Vickers is indicating, we're going to be meeting with a couple of firms that are basically pitching us around how they would take us through a 7-Eleven process. And although I think that there's probably some commonality, each firm has some unique approaches or ways. And we're going to be evaluating that, and we're literally going to be starting that tomorrow night. And Ms. Vickers is going to be coordinating the discussion along with me and with Member Thomas. And we'll be looking to make a selection for that. Essentially they're a project manager, right? But my sense though is that the school district has a portfolio of properties. And ultimately, the board's fiduciary responsibility is that we put those properties to their highest and best use. And ultimately, the end beneficiaries or consumers need to be the students, right? And so we need to look at what is going to be the best allocation use that's going to ultimately produce superior academic outcomes. But I think that I don't think we can say a lot more until we actually have selected the firm. but I think that as Superintendent Vacar is indicating, that once we've selected the firm, we're going to most likely have an open session, the firm come in and talk about the whole process. And then we're going to talk about membership, on the committee, and we're going to talk about how we get input from various stakeholders. And so I think that there's more information coming shortly.
I think there's also an opportunity, I think, for our board and for the community to learn about a variety of projects that have been done throughout the state through the 7-Eleven process, right? And what might be a good fit here also for Newark. I think that is a golden opportunity when you do have property that's sitting out there and that it's compatible for use in the community.
Well, you mentioned the possibility of, as school enrollments decline, and I heard your speech the other day regarding the trend that we've seen here in the city. I'm going to continue to speak positively in the public about our schools. I'm disappointed when I do hear residents talk about their children and they're going to other schools and surrounding communities. I think kids can get an outstanding education here. We have outstanding teachers, qualified teachers. It's a great environment. So I'm hoping that we turn that trend around and start to see families looking at Newark schools as their first choice and not their only choice. But I think you're right. As we look at the possibility of declining enrollments, we see what happens in other communities because people get very dedicated and emotional connection to their neighborhood schools. And I think you've always had a good opportunity, as the board has, in keeping the community engaged in terms of those conversations. So I would encourage you to continue to do that. So people aren't surprised when they hear that these are things that we're talking about. The more transparent we are in terms of our communication, I think it's easier to get that acceptance from the community that we're doing the right thing. So
I think one of the things that surprised me most when I was out listening to the community is the size that they thought Newark Unified School District still was. And most people would have guessed that we were still housing 10,000 kids.
Yeah.
And yet we're half of that, less than half. And so I think that's kind of like the surprise to people because I think they remember it being such a large school district or a medium-sized school district, medium-large. And like other school districts, by the way, 85% of the school districts in the state of California are declining in enrollment. It's a huge number.
They didn't have 7 children like I did. I did my part.
Thank you. We appreciate that, Mayor, so very, very much.
If I may just build on what Superintendent Vacar had said earlier, there's lots of options on the table, but I think ultimately it comes down to goals, and that's going to be a part of the process. But if we are talking about trying to increase enrollment, obviously a big part of that is going to be the quality of the education that we're providing. And one of the biggest determinants of that are the teachers themselves. And literally in the school district where I teach, so the way that they've set it up over in Cupertino is you don't have a K through 12 model. So we have a collection of high schools that are all together, right? So it's a unified high school district. But then below that, we've got a unified sort of K through 6 or K through 8 model. And literally the community there just went through a process and they're taking one of their properties and they're allocating it towards teacher housing. And there was just an article that was talking about that. And so there's so many, if we want to bring in really top-notch educators, and the information that they were citing in the article, and I can't speak to the exact precision, but they were saying if the average median income in the Bay Area now, family is $200,000, or at least in certain areas, and that might be a little bit high. And if your average home price is $1.5 million to $2 million, the average teacher, because the teachers in our district are not making that, they're going to have a real hard time being able to come and commit. And so whereas if we can alleviate part of that problem through providing subsidized housing, that could be, a potential game changer. But again, that's one option, and that's something that we need to talk about.
Yeah, I'm really proud to say that we, the city of Newark, recently approved our first housing development where a certain percentage of those homes will be made available to folks looking to buy in the $250,000 to $350,000 range. I think if I recall correctly, Mr. Benoon, correct me if I'm wrong, 10 or 11 of those homes will be made available to low-income folks so they can get an opportunity to buy their first home. That's the first time we've done that in the city of Newark. This council is very much supportive of affordable housing and any opportunity we can to create that affordability, whether it be for seniors, teachers, whomever that may be, certainly that works and serves our community, we certainly want to look at those opportunities.
Yeah, I think if those opportunities do arise, I think one of the stigmas that we all have to deal with is being, two different government entities is, the stigma that because it's affordable doesn't mean that it's low income. It means that it's affordable for people to be able to live and thrive and grow and have their family here, right here in our community. And I think that's what's really important to Newark residents is that they are able to have that quality of life. And I can definitely say that we have a lot of teachers that are very concerned. And oftentimes, one of the reasons that they cite that they leave is that they can't afford to live here. Yeah. Or they think they can make the commute, and then they get into the commute and they're exhausted, right? Because they put in long extra hours. And we know that. I mean, we know that happens. And so we watch this turnover and we're getting ready to watch it again. I feel like it's almost like Groundhog Day, right? Like I get to watch it almost like every year and kind of wonder who's going to leave us now. And sometimes we are that farm team that other school districts are picking from because we do have great teachers and we do offer a great educational program and opportunities for kids.
Any other comments? Then just one question from me about facilities. So in my commute, I drive down Cherry every day and see the high school field and various states of construction. So just wondering if we can get a quick update on what's going on there and
So
what
right now
status is there?
it's on schedule. I'm happy to say it is on schedule. We do believe graduation will be hosted on that site. We do have an alternate site just in case. But, the weather has definitely been very gracious to us so far this year. Knock on some wood here. And, right now, though it is on schedule, we'll probably take the property back for graduation day and then give it back to the developer or the contractor to finish out the rest of the track. The track piece will not be laid down at the time of graduation, but the infield will be done. And we are super excited to be able to bring this project to Newark, and especially Newark Memorial High School.
Mm-hmm. Great. It's great that we're going to be able to have graduation there and that those students will be able to walk across their field.
Yeah, and it looks really great. I don't know if you've seen the new turf down, but it looks
It's hard to take a good look at it at 45 miles an hour, but
slow it down.
I'm looking forward to seeing it at graduation.
You must not be going during school zone hours.
Excellent. Any other comments or questions? That'll look to the public if there's any comments or questions from members of the public.
Good evening. My name is Eisen Kwiatkowski, and I'm a middle school math teacher at Newark Middle School. I currently commute by bike on Newark Boulevard for the last 3 years. And I've noticed between Cedar Boulevard and Bellhaven on Newark Boulevard, it's one of a few sections on this roadway with no bike lanes. This roadway currently has street parking, and to be fair, it is used heavily as cars continuously park there in both directions, and I'm likely in the minority of wanting this change. But thinking of the safety of the many students that ride their bikes to school at Newark Middle School, and to encourage this type of transportation, we should have the infrastructure connecting bike lanes on a major roadway to the only middle school in the city. As educators and community leaders, we should be encouraging students to engage in healthy, sustainable transportation options like biking. Students will often spot my bike helmet in the classroom or see me biking in and out of school, which allows me to start a conversation about why I bike to work while also incorporating math skills, such as being able to budget, save money, while also exercising. I have experienced and witnessed cars not yielding or simply being aware of bikes merging on Newark Boulevard at Cedar Boulevard intersection because the bike lane simply ends. There is no clear signage indicating it ends, but I'm an experienced rider. I expect it. I worry about the young, inexperienced riders who might not. Newark Middle School is the only middle school in the city, and yet is not directly connected to any designated bike lanes. This is evident in the city's 2017 pedestrian and bicycle master plan, which vaguely shows a lack of connection between several schools and the city's bike lane network. So I urge both the city and the school board to prioritize creating safe, connecting bike routes to our schools, investing in the infrastructure that will help protect our students and promote a healthier and more active community.
Thank you for your comment. I want to turn it over to City Manager Benoon. I know we are working on an update for our active transportation plan, which is a update to the 2017 bicycle and pedestrian master plan. So just City Manager, if you have any comments.
This was brought under public comment, item E, not under D3, correct? Yes. Okay. So I'd be happy to talk to you briefly after this meeting and put you in touch with our Public Works Director. As the committee chair indicated, the city is in the process of updating the city's active transportation plan. That's going to replace the bicycle and pedestrian plan. Be happy to receive your feedback and keep you in the loops for when we have future community events and public outreach in the development of that plan. Awesome. So if we could just briefly chat, that would be great. Yeah. And also just, I don't want the committee members' silence to be interpreted as some sort of level of disinterest. Under state law, the committee is prohibited from commenting on items that do not appear on the agenda. So I would not want you to interpret their silence as some sort of disinterest of your concern.
Thank you.
Any other comments from members of the public?
Hi, my name is Stephen Cassidy. I wanted to introduce myself. I am the new CEO of the Newark Chamber of Commerce. It's my pleasure to be here. This is my second week on the job. Still waiting to get into the office, actually. But I'm just so delighted and so amazed what amazing city Newark is. And I really want the chamber to be a true partner of the city and the school district. In terms of my background, I'm an attorney. I was also former mayor of San Leandro, and I was on the San Leandro School Board, and been very proud in some ways of much of my work on the school board as I was as mayor, because just in the last 3 years as a member of the community, I chaired 3 school bond measures. So we passed ones in 2016, 20, and 24. And it's just made a tremendous difference. And my wife is a public school teacher. She's in TK. And I believe for next school year, you have to turn 4 by September 1st, which means since school starts in August, you could have 3-year-olds in the classroom. It's, every night I hear stories about the kids, generally positive, but it's like I feel like I know these kids too. And, I want to see the chamber partner with the Education Foundation, with, thinking of ways that we can bring business into our schools and conversely help kids have internships and opportunities in the local business community as well. So I just, again, want to introduce myself. I'm happy to chat with you after the meeting if you have a moment. And I don't expect any follow-up comments so from you, since you obviously can't. But thanks again for all your hard work. And I want to praise the staff. And these are some great presentations tonight, too. So thanks a lot.
Thank you. Any other comments from members of the public? Seeing none, we can move on to upcoming events. We'll look to City Manager Benoon on the state of the city.
Yes, good evening, Chair and members of the committee. The city is hosting the 2025 State of the City Address on Friday, May 23rd, 2025, from 3 p.m. to 7 p.m. This will occur at the Newark Civic Center campus. So staff is planning for the closure of Newark Boulevard between Thornton Avenue and Civic Center Terrace. We've signed a contract with a stage production company, so they're going to bring in a stage, a big screen. The public, all members of the public are invited to attend and witness Mayor Hannon provide an update on the state of the city. The theme for this year is culture. So we've been collaborating and partnering with the Newark Unified School District, specifically the high school. So we have student dance performances from 4 groups, potentially 5. We've also been partnering with Mr. Stoner from the library, and so we have a group from the library that will be performing as well. We tentatively are planning for the speech to begin at 4 p.m. We sent notices and invitations to all various members of the community and all the various groups and nonprofits, all of our regional partners from government agencies as well. There is a considerable amount of student coordination. So we actually, in addition to the student groups, we have the choir from the high school singing the national anthem, the student body president leading us in the Pledge of Allegiance, and the band will also be there to kick off the festivities. So again, that is Friday, May 23rd, 2025 from 3 to 7 p.m. at the Newark Civic Center campus.
Thank you. And then Superintendent Vakar on anything on graduations.
No, just that we have upcoming graduations happening. We're super excited. May 30th will be the graduations for the continuation school at 10 a.m. And at 5:30 p.m., I believe, is when we kick off for the high school graduation. 5 o'clock.
Well, big congratulations to all the graduates, whether it's from Newark Memorial or Bridgepoint or Newark Middle School or any of the elementary schools. Moving on to bigger and greater things.
Yes, there's all kinds of fun activities happening that last week of May. It'll be very active in our community and lots of celebrations. So please come out and join any of them and all of them. We welcome you.
Could you provide us with the dates of the graduation or the promotions from the various grammar schools to the middle school and the middle school to the high school?
We can send that out to you, sort of, the city offices. Absolutely.
Thank you. Then, looking at our next couple of meetings, first I'll look for requests for future discussion items.
Yes, I have one, Superintendent Vakar. I've heard from the community that there's some concerns among many of our different art organizations regarding the costs to utilize Newark high school facilities. I don't understand, what that looks like. So could we maybe get a presentation on the various charges that we charge organizations to come in and utilize, like the theater, things of that nature?
So I can share with you that the school district is looking at its facilities use. We are looking at coming back with a new fee schedule. And what we use is a comparison of like type facilities in the area. We use a company called Facilitron that helps us with that particular study. And that will be presented to the board. They've already seen one presentation on what that looks like. Usually it's for cost recovery and then, just for the wear and tear. The other thing is we have to make sure that staff's available. That's the other thing. We have very limited staff.
And just to build on what Superintendent Vakar is mentioning, so I think that we saw some information earlier that where we were finding out that we really haven't had a process for managing our various facilities. And when we started to scratch beneath the surface, we were actually finding out that not only were we not doing like cost recovery, we were actually incurring additional costs. And so these were coming out of our budget. And I will tell you, and I don't think that we have a strong process right now, and it's something that we need to improve. But if you compare that with the district where I actually work as a teacher, we have an incredibly robust process. It's all managed through Facilitron, which is basically software that provides reservations. And I would say that for example, I as a teacher, I'm in charge of our Future Business Leaders of America chapter. And even though that is theoretically a nonprofit, when we needed to host a a regional meeting of all the various FBLA chapters, we had to pay, right? So even though, we're not even really technically a nonprofit. And so I think that that's really kind of the intent and the reason why
President
is
Hill,
that.
I don't mean to interrupt you.
Just briefly to avoid discussion on an item that's not on tonight's
Yeah, I
agenda.
apologize. I just want to make sure that we don't end up doing something.
That's also something that I've heard from the community, and I think once a presentation is ready that has been presented to the board on that, I think presenting it here also makes a lot of sense. Just so, when folks in the community come to me, I'll know how to respond to those sorts of
I think it'll be a little bit
complaints.
ways down the road, not something that I'm planning on doing immediately here on my task list. Okay. It's something that's coming up and something that we are taking a look at, making sure the comparisons are there, but happy to bring that information back.
Yeah, just at least for me, and if you're fine with this, just
Yes.
once it's ready. It doesn't need to be June, but once
you.
it's ready, that's something that I would like to see as well.
Appreciate it.
Any other items? Yes,
Not
Member
at
Hill.
this time.
Yes.
Yeah, so we've heard maybe a little bit of, well, I guess, how can I put it? I think that we've heard some things this evening that dovetail in a lot of respects, and I think that there have been a lot of discussions, sort of bubbling up, emerging discussions around how the city and the school district can work together and be more collaborative because our fates are intertwined. And so obviously, if the school district is successful, that's going to promote a lot of great things in the city, and then vice versa. I think that one of the challenges, and just again, and it's just to be frank, is that although we've been doing a lot of good things in our school district, we are oftentimes either fairly or unfairly judged on a couple of metrics, for example, like test scores, and we don't always have the scores that some might consider to be desirable. And a couple years ago, we took that head on, and we have a very explicit goal around academic outcomes. And we basically said, we do believe that there is some correlation between test scores and getting a good education. It's not the only thing, but it's a key thing. And since a lot of our quote unquote customers, right, so the people that are not enrolling their kids, care about that, let's explicitly focus on it. And we've been making progress, and quite frankly, this is, I think, the first time that since I've been on the board where I've seen active discussions around how we're performing on our tests at different schools, and we're having regular presentations. And Miss Allard, who was just here a few minutes ago, was the champion around that. The challenge that I think that we have, and I would like to see if we could have, a future discussion about this, and I think it's going to be an ongoing discussion, is that we're in a catch-22 where, as we have declining enrollment, our funding goes down. That means that we have less resources to then dedicate to turn ourselves around, so it becomes complicated. And I think that one of the things that we're discovering is that although we're really trying to do a great job in focusing in on improving academic outcomes in the schools, that we need more resources. And quite frankly, we need some level of intervention. The challenge is that we don't have all of the funds that we need, but maybe there are some creative ways where we can work with the city and other institutions here where we can pull together some kind of model that says, okay, the teachers are teaching in the classroom and focusing in on these elements, but then maybe there's a handoff at some point where if there's additional help that needs to get provided on a volunteer basis, that here are channels, formal channels that can be followed. And I think that the challenge that we have right now is we have a lot of informal channels, and they may not always be completely aligned with the educational goals. But I think if we did some work and we maybe formed some type of study session or study group to look at this, if we formalize it, if we have one face to the customer, and then we have everybody's rowing in the same direction, we could potentially really start to pick up even more speed. So that's a discussion that I would appreciate having in a future meeting. And that's it for my comments.
Thank you. And then just two things for me. I think last year we had an update on the school resource officer, kind of what Newark Memorial, the challenges of not having the school resource officer there, and then the excitement that it was going to come back. So just a presentation on, now that school resource officer has been there for a year, kind of what benefits has that been to Newark Memorial, just so we can kind of see that in black and white there. And then my other request would be, this would not be for June, probably for October. So our calendar for many years has been January, April, June, and October. I know for the school district, having a meeting at the end of June may not necessarily align best with your calendar. Just, I don't know, like, if your staff's necessarily still around or if you're on, that's your break. So, having a meeting in the middle of your break isn't necessarily ideal. So I think moving forward, so for October meeting, if staff could get together and put together a calendar that best aligns with what the city's calendar is and what the school district's calendar is for 2026, I think that might be, in everyone's best interest and might be what we've got now. But just I would request that conversation happens and reports back when we put together our 2026 calendar.
Good.
All right, anything else? And with that, I will adjourn to our June 23 meeting.
Excellent. Great job, Mr. Chair. Thank you for the water, David.